Women rescued from locked rooms inside of a church. Okay. I want you to put up this picture first. Hell of a story in St. Louis. Grace Kipendo, Mmunga Fungamali, and Pasi Heri had been arrested after uncovering what was described as a cult-like church, where officers found women whose faces were covered with veils and they were held captive. They were facing kidnapping, and they are facing kidnapping and assault charges now because of it. That arrest happened on February 21st at the Mount of Olives Ministry Church. Police officers were called a little before 1:30 a.m. after a woman had been found bound with ropes and bleeding from the head. She told officers she had been confined against a will in a room in the church. The woman said she was only given water and beatings. That's it. She had an obvious wound on her head. Cops went to the church where she showed them to the room where she was being held. You see that church right there. The room had a bottle of water and a bucket with feces and urine inside, the affidavit said. Officers then arrested the three who were inside the church and took them to the City Justice Center, where they are being held without bond. Assistant Circuit Attorney Chris Faber reportedly described the Mount of Olives ministry as cult-like. The circuit attorney said the churchgoers called women angels, and the good angels wore white veils in a white room. Officers tried to lift their veils to check on their well-being, and the women started screaming, reported in the narrative. Kipendo's attorney, Chris Combs, reportedly said at the hearing that he was sympathetic to the victim, but his client was not involved in any kidnapping or assault. He claimed Kipendo and the other two men were taken into custody because of a language barrier. Church services are held in Swahili, he said. Several members of the church, including the victim's mother and sister, were there to support the suspect. So Faber said the victim's family had recently brought her from Kansas City for mental health treatment. They put her in the church for what they termed as, quote, healing. A judge ordered Kipendo to be held without bond. The other two defendants will have their bond hearing when a Swahili interpreter can be present, records show. So according to the group's GoFundMe, Mount Olive Ministry is headed by Reverend Anna Nyasa. A Riverfront Times reporter went to the Mount Olives Ministry and talked to his pastor, Danny Stephen, in the parking lot. Stephen said that someone had slapped the victim, but that it wasn't any of the three men arrested. Why are you holding these three people, innocent people, he says. Stephen was present in the courtroom this afternoon along with other parishioners, none of whom spoke to the media. Now, somebody knows something. Somebody knows something. So this obviously is not just a slap, somebody hitting a person. How do you explain the bondage? How do you explain the feces and the urine? The room that she described was there. It's not as if she made it up. It was present. These questions require answers. And I take the same stance I take here as I take with the Catholic Church. If you say nothing when abuses like this are happening, whatever narrative they paint your organization with, you deserve it. You know this is happening, you say nothing, you do nothing, you do not advocate for protection or accountability, you deserve whatever narrative comes to you. Now, damn it, somebody knows something. All right, join the thoughts here.
I mean, at the outset, I should say I'm not religious, but I think you need to respect if it holds a place in someone's life and they appreciate it or they practice, that's fine. Unfortunately, it seems like people too often use organized religion as a cover for abusive behavior or bad behavior. And it's it's not even the majority of cases. It is an easy cover for people to do terrible things. And unfortunately, people exploit that. You have millions, billions around the world of people who practice their faith and do their best to try to do no harm to others. And I think that's fine. But it really makes my stomach turn when you see stories like this, which unfortunately seem like they happen fairly often. So I don't know what the best recourse is, because you want people to have freedom of religion. You want to respect that. We should celebrate it. But at the same time, we can't have it being used as cover for just terrible, repugnant behavior. It's really complicated. I don't know the answer.
Yeah. All right, we'll bring you updates. Guaranteed to be some.